We're continuing.
So you're going to say that just because it's a person that wants to do good, so that makes it good? The person, just because he's a person, it becomes good. It's mamish working the other way. That doesn't go. It's mamish exactly like the B'nai Tzion's teretz on the Noda B'Yehuda's kasha is the same thing as what I'm saying. I hope people understand what I'm saying. I could say it over and over again, but somebody that's smart will understand what I'm saying. Now,
You don't have to say it over again. They can play the cassette.
I don't have to say it over because they could just play it over and listen again, right? But I think there's a problem like this, and this is a general problem, and it's very common, and it happens. It could even happen to people like us. The problem is that we don't analyze. And all of us have this problem. We don't analyze because there's two chalokim in a person's nefesh. There's the dimyan and there's the seichel, like everybody knows. The dimyan jumps. He's a hedyet kofetz barosh. He jumps ahead because this is what he feels. It feels like that to him. Not long ago, I said over to somebody a certain thing. So he said, it doesn't feel right. Afterwards, I don't know, it's hard, I don't know to answer on the spot, but I should have said that it doesn't sound right, but besides that, is anything wrong with it? I mean, you can't really say why it's wrong. But the demon is what feels, it doesn't feel good, doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel wrong, it doesn't feel this, it doesn't feel that. And that always jumps ahead, that's the imagination. But the seichel analyzes things. We always tend to look, to go according to what the imagination, the demon says. Now, there is a certain place in America where they're so liberal that just to say that something is wrong. Like you can't say such a thing. You can't say somebody is wrong because everybody's right. And there used to be a slogan that they said, I'm okay, you're okay. They used that. Now, there was once a story that I once had a mother-in-law, that she was from those people from that place. And that they...
It's called California.
Themselves were very intelligent and very liberal. So there was one time my son, he once said something and he pronounced the R in English. Since my son grew up here, my second son Joseph, he grew up in Israel, so he pronounced the R not exactly like in America they pronounce R. So this mother-in-law of mine said, no, you have to say it this way, R, and not R, and not this. I thought I was afraid to say something, but I felt like saying, what do you mean you have to? I mean, you have to? What do you mean you have to? How could a liberal say you have to do something? But I thought you could do whatever you want. Liberalism said you could do whatever you want. So you see that then it comes to a certain place, they also know you can't do whatever you want. So I'm saying like this, the general feeling of in those parts of the world is that the feeling of liberalism says you can't be negative. You can't be negative against somebody. So how could you say he's wrong? He's right. Everybody's right. So the question is, how could you say he's right? So on that you answer, for him it's right. But that itself, the whole idea is wrong. There is such a thing as wrong. And I don't have to talk too much, B'nai Torah, and people are Shomrei Torah mitzvahs. They understand what I'm saying. But here I'm trying to bring out a second point that besides everything that we talked until general feeling of what the person said. And we're megiv, we respond to that. And I'll tell you a story that happened once. I was at a kiddush, and there was a kiddush who was in my family, in fact, in a certain place, and everybody was sitting around. And it wasn't like in some kiddushim everybody talks to the one sitting next to him. But here there was a Rosh HaMedabrim B'chol Mokum. The Gemara says that the Romans appointed Rabbi Yehuda as the Rosh HaMedabrim B'chol Mokum. There's some people that they became the Rosh HaMedabrim without the Romans appointing them. They just became the Rosh HaMedabrim B'chol Mokum. And I said, very good. That when over there was the Chazal. They were all Chachomim and Avonim. So you needed the Romans to appoint the Rosh HaMedabrim. But sometimes the Rosh HaMedabrim is such a high madrega, and we're on such a low madrega, that naturally he becomes the Rosh HaMedabrim. So the Rosh HaMedabrim was sitting and was talking. Somebody told a story. And the story was that somebody asked this Fasemis, how is it that you, by you the davening, you're so successful in davening b'kavona, and I'm not? So Fasemis says a mashal that somebody that was a mountain climber, and he climbed to the top of the mountain. He got to the top of the mountain. He saw a child sitting there. So he said to the child, What are you doing up here? So I'm in the middle of giving a talk. I'll soon call you back. So the child said, I was born up here. What do you mean? What am I doing on top of the mountain? I was born up here. I didn't have to crawl up the mountain. So Semes said, same thing, that's the difference between me and you. I was born high up on a very high madrega, so by me the davening goes easier. But you that you were born in a lower place, you have to work your way up. That's what somebody told at this kiddush. So the Rosh HaMedabrim banged on the table and said, "End of a kazeh. There's no such thing." What do you mean? A person doesn't have to work? No such thing. No. Isn't it obvious that that's not what he meant, the one that told the story? Of course, the one, the Sfasemis also has to work hard. He has to work from where he was born. He has to work his way up higher and higher. So what did the Rosh HaMedabrim have to bang on the table and criticize this person? He's right. Only the answer is like this, that the Rosh HaMedabrim, he didn't hear the whole story. All he heard was that there was a certain, to reach from a certain low level till a certain level, the Sfasemis didn't have to work on. And all, that's all he heard. He got that impression. So he jumped out to criticize, because that was his first impression. He didn't analyze, even though he's such a big Talmid Chacham that we're all ovokta, not ofer tachas kapus raglov, not we're earth under his feet, we're dust under his feet in this big Talmid Chacham. But to analyze what the other person said, he doesn't have to, because he's so sure of himself. He knows that what this person said something, that there's a certain part that the Sasemis didn't have to work on. That's all he heard. He didn't hear more than that. The second half, the Sasemis also had to work from there on. That he doesn't have to think about that. He just has to punch back because he's so sure of himself, this person. So all he does is he punches back because that's all he heard, and that's all. And then that's all that's important, and then he can punch back. I don't know if everybody understands what I just said, but I don't feel like analyzing it too much. So I'm saying the same thing as over here in our case. When my son heard this, that I'm criticizing somebody. He wants to be with this way of thinking that I'm all right, you're right, everything is all right. So that he's saying, how could you criticize? How could you say it's wrong? But that's not. I'm saying a difference, a chilik, and it might be dakus. It might be a fine difference that I don't know if everybody will understand it. But there's a big difference. You can say that somebody's wrong if the action is wrong, so he's wrong. Just because he did it, that's not going to justify it. And we have to know the difference. Anything that's right, anything that has in it a certain emes, a certain toelis in avodas Hashem, so we have to see, maybe for this person it's right. Anything. But to do something that there's no toelis at all, you can criticize. And the fact that somebody that wants to do good does it, doesn't justify it and doesn't make it right. There is such a thing as wrong. And all this, I don't know what they call it, all this trying to make everything nice and wonderful, and I'm right and you're right and I'm okay and you're okay, that might even be goyish. In the Torah, we have right and we have wrong, and we have to know, is it right or is it wrong? Afterwards, once we know there is such a way, and then we'll say it's for him it's good, for him it's not good. But to go fighting a government, to go doing things that are not going to help, or we're sure they're not going to help, boy, that's wrong, waste of time. Nothing is going to justify it. But the general problem is that this person, this Meretzinger, his Rebbe's taught him the wrong thing, and this whole idea of a Schalta de Gula was what made their minds corrupt, and they think we're in the beginning of the Gula. We're not in the beginning of the Gula, we're in Golus. And in Golus we have to bend our heads down and let the Rishonim be successful and not try to interfere with what they're doing and not try to change it. But there is something we can do to change it. Take and do something ruchni in order to fight them. Sit down, get together a chabura. We're going to every day learn Chomesh shows, Ritzufus, in order to break the Koach Hara. That we can do. In fact, in Chaburas Nachlas Yaakov of Rav Tzvi Meir Zilberberg, they made up on the Shabbos Chazon, the Shabbos, this last Shabbos, which was Tisha B'Av itself, they made up, we're going to all get up we're going to all come to a Seder of learning at 5 o'clock in the morning, Shabbos Tisha B'Av, before davening. We're going to learn 3 hours before davening in order to break the koach of the Ra and bring Mashiach. There was such a group nowadays, and they called up anybody who has shaykhs to Chaburas Nachlas Yaakov, and they called up, and there was a recorded message. Everybody should get up 5 o'clock and learn 3 hours in order to help bring Mabias HaMashiach. That's the way we can do. And we do have the kochos to fight the Ra, and we do have the koch to break their power, and we do have the koch to bring Mashiach. And that's the only way. Everything I was talking till now, that's when you're working within the misgeret of Teva.
Rabbi Kaplan, we have 30 seconds if you want to finish.
In Lamala Min HaTeva, we can do and we can break and we can be successful.
That's all, Rabbi Kaplan.
Yeah.
Thank you.